Later.
Today we will continue our consultations regarding vectors. Last time we had scalar multiplication. So today our discussion will focus on vector multiplication. So, but then before I start, let me ask a question if ever naaba mo'y gusto i-clarify. Anybody? How about you, Warren? Na kayo gusto i-clarify, Warren?
Yes, sir. Katong last example ni mo, sir, about sa katong sa vector, sir, medyo nag-struggle yung sir. Kaya naputol-putol ang signal ato nga time, sir. Madili kina ko maklaro, sir, ang discussion ato nga time.
Okay, but then are you aware that there is actually a recording of that video where I
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ako mananahog lang to, sir. Then, murag nalibog-libog po gamay, sir.
Makadapitan na libog. I mean, asa ka particularly nalibog ato. Para at least makuha na ko, ma-assess na ko asa ko dapitan mo sulod. Warren? Alam mo, nawala si Warren. Murag lisod ni si Warren mangutog situation kay Kuan. Layo po ang iyang iyang location. So, may gani makakontak pa siya, makakontak siya sa tuwa. Then hopefully mukuan pa siya mo sa tawag na mo manikamo tug kuan pa. Connect pa gyud. Anyways, so how about ang uban?
Sir, na ako'y questions about atong kuan, sir.
Sige, Albert.
Sa last part, sir, nga about sa labi to yung opposite atong jihad o ayhat. Magsago na siya, sir. Tapos mapod to kihat o atong kato dito dapit, sir. Itong last nga part, kato itong imo pang i-distribute sa sir.
Okay. So, baldi, ako lang ikaw na. Akong ibalik og okay, so sa scalar multiplication man good. So scalar multiplication. So ang idea lang kay kung mag-multiply kag duha ka vector, so suppose na kay vector ni nani bisan siya kay sa na kay so na kay vector, for example 6 I hat plus 3 j hat plus 1 k hat. Okay. Suppose. So kini Adam no? So na kay vector B. Let's just say na kay 2 I hat minus 1 j hat plus 6 k hat. And then papangita din si mo dayon ang kuan. Find A dot B. Okay? So, ang buhatan na to, di ba, kay copy raman na to class, no? So, you just have to copy. 3 j hat plus 1 k hat. And then kay dot 2 I hat minus 1 j hat plus 6 k hat. So, ang pangutanan ni Musiawi kay ang pag-distribute, di ba?
Kung anong pangutana siya, sir? Ano
Ha?
mga sir?
Pangutanan,
Dili ako.
ang pag-distribute, di ba?
Yes, sir. Isa, sir, ha? Wala
Ah.
siya meter, ano, sir. Wala siya unit ang anong 6.0. Unsa unit, sir? Wala na siya unit, sir.
Good point. Actually, kini akong gihatag nga example karon kay wala lang sa nakumutay unit.
Okay, sir.
But
Thank you.
then, expect class nga pag-abot na nato og kanang proper discussions na gid sa physics. So, pwede na siya butag mga units. So, just be careful. For now, ang purpose ani is para lang ma-address tong pangutana ni Siawi about sa pag-distribute sa mga unit vectors. Di ba?
Albert Solidsi.
Albert or si Adam? Adam to nakatana, di ba?
Albert.
Wala, sir. Albert, sir.
Albert.
Si Albert ang nakatana, sorry. Hindi si Adam din. Okay, so Albert. So now, ang atong buhaton diri Albert kay usual nga mo na kat-onan nimo sa pag-distribute o polynomials. Sa algebra nimo, so imo lang ning i-distribute man, di ba? So, distribute nimo ni kana so inaanig doon ta ang brute force nga pag-solve. Ikinahanglan nimo i-distribute. Pero na-discuss ba nato last time nga pag-distribute nato kay na may mga unit vectors, di ba? So for example, pag-distribute nimo aning first term kini 6 I hat padulong that with for example that with negative 1 j hat, ang resulta ana niya kinahanglan kay I hat dot j hat. And then we've learned that this is actually 0. Di ba? 0 siya kay tungod kay ang imuhang angle between I hat and j hat. So kung imo nang i-sketch, ang imuhang I hat is actually padulong ladto. That's I hat. And then ang imong j hat is actually pataas. J hat there. And then the angle between the two is 90 degrees. So ang definition man nato kay naman kay katong magnitude, di ba? Magnitude sa first vector, which is 1, times magnitude sa second vector. That means magnitude sa imong unit vector nga j hat, which is actually 1. And then cosine of the angle between the two. And then we've learned that the angle between the two is just 90 degrees. And then cosine 90 degrees is actually 0. So that's why ang imuhang product dani is equal to 0. So therefore, dili mag-contribute ang I dot j. The same with I dot k. So nakuha, ang mag-survive lang sa first term kay when I hat here is dotted with I hat. So that's why ang resulta na that's just 12. It's just 12. And then, ang ikaduha, the same with this, ay, for example, plus. Ang ikaduha, you have this one. Para imo pa siyang i-distribute, same thing. So you have that one, and then that one. But then, again, we've learned that ang mag-contribute lang is ang mag-contribute lang kay ang parehas og unit vector. So that's why here ang mag-contribute lang din is when j hat is actually dotted with j hat here. So dili mag-contribute ang j dot I and j dot k. So that's why ang may tabudan na para ikuha na ko lang limpyuhan. That's why here ang mag-contribute is just instead of plus mo tano, so you have plus, but then positive 3 times negative 1, that becomes negative 3. Can you follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How about si Albert? Na-follow ba ni Albert?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So, the same thing for the last term. So, ang last term, this one, 1k hat, idat ni mo dani. So, idat ni mo sa dat ni mo dana. First term, dat ni mo dani. Dat ni mo dani. Ang may tabo kay dili mag-contribute ang kining first term here tungod kay k dot I man na siya. So, that's still 0. The same thing with k dot j. That's still 0. So that's why mag-contribute lang kay ang kining k dot k, which is that is just equal to 1 times 6. So that's actually 6. And then what you do is just have to perform the corresponding operations here. So you have a positive times negative, that is just negative. So nakakay 12 minus 3 plus 6. So, or this is just equal to 15. Tama? Tama ba, Albert?
Yes, sir. Sir.
Okay. So bottom line is, ang imong buhaton lang, pwede na din ka mulaktod bitaw class. So kung naanad na kagsig practice na yun, ayaw buhaton kay kung dapat A dot B, same nga given no, A dot B. Akong buhaton na lang dayon is, lantaon na rin ako ang parehas o kanang parehas o unit vector. So mora na sila yung mag-contribute. So kaya sila parehas na naka-add 12. Sunod, kay kini J hat and then J hat. That's negative man ang sign dani, so that means that's negative 3. And then kining K hat here and K hat here, so that's positive 6. So that's 15. So by practice, pwede na nimo na buhaton class, diretso na. Diba? Kaysa scalar multiplication, ang mag-contribute lang ng mga terms are those of having the same unit vectors. Pag dili parehas ang iyang unit vector, so dili siya mag-contribute, that becomes 0. Ako ha?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Napay ka na, Juan? Napay clarification? I mean, napay gusto i-clarify ani nga point? Kaya ang akong gibuhat na nakaroon kay Juan naman class, mura naman siya ang algebra bitaw, i-recall na ko ang algebra niyo sa high school. Kaya you just have to distribute. I'm talking about this. Kini bitaw sila. Kini nga term multiplied by this term. Algebra naman atong gibuhat na na class. Ang ako lang din gi-add, ang concept is every time makita kag I dot I and then J dot J and kanang K dot K. So we know that kung makita ka na nila, that's just equal to 1. If ever makita kag in ani nga makita kag outside ani nila nga example, so for example A dot J, so we know that I have that J, that means that's just equal to 0, and so on. So on. Sa kanila, So is it safe to assume that nakuha na ni siya nga skill set? If not, ato pagyapon i-discuss class kung panalitan na ay ka ng kuan na pay wala na catch up gyapon na pay kanang lubog pa bitaw sa inyo ang kuan bitaw pagsabot. Sige. Anybody?
Sir.
Yes.
Ako, sir.
Si Adam?
Oo, sir.
Okay. Sige, Adam. Go ahead.
Mora gyapon sir kung i-hat multiply nimo sa k-hat kay 0 ra gyapon sir. Since naman siya sa 3D gyapon 3-dimensional.
So to, I hat of
K-hat.
K-hat, yes. Basta dili parehas. Okay, common nga mistake nga pagkasulat sa mga bata class kay nani. Careful with this. Bitaw. Be careful. Bitaw na I hat dot I hat kay isulat ni nila og I hat square okay. So dili siya ang uban pod kay inisulat nila kay ana lang I hat. So this is just I hat square. So dili sayop ni siya. Sayop na ang notation. Dapat naani siya, naaning dot in the center. And then ang imo pagsulat diri dapat class kini medyo kuan gyapon na, medyo pinaspasay mo na dili na siya maayo pagkasulat. So that should be ang sakto class, dili ni siya correct. But ang sakto is should write it as this. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So murag loosely speaking, murag madawat ra ni, pero kung striktohon ka o ka na check sa imong instructor or later on by someone, so this is not appropriate. What is appropriate is actually this one. Okay? So kanina inyong timan-an class ini. Pag scalar product, pag parehas, that's just equal to 1. Kung dili na ginani ang combination, 0 na gina siya. Okay? Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sige. Isa pa'y gusto mga tanan. Natin gusto i-clarify niya about the previous na tungkol. If not, so we will proceed to vector product. Now, ang vector product class kay, as I mentioned last time, it is actually a case wherein we are multiplying two vectors and then the resultant is actually a vector. It's not a scalar quantity anymore, but then it's a vector quantity. And then, so our definition for this case is actually we denote it by, for example, na kay vector A lang yapon, and then you have cross, okay, cross B. So we denote this one. Again, the same lang ang iyahang class, iyahang definition. Nice similarity somewhat sa scalar product, but then naalay points na dapat niyo timan-an. For example, here, pareha sila din makuha nila magnitude ang first vector. So, paano mo magnitude ang second? Is also the same, paano mo magnitude. But then, ang changes karon kay naa kay sign. Ang sa scalar product kay it's cosine. But for vector product, it is now sine. And then now, akong buhaton kay change na akong notation sa angle class. Instead of theta, I'll use phi. So and then natin kay n hat. Now, ang n hat, sir, unsa na n hat, sir? So n hat is actually, it's a unit vector that is perpendicular, okay? Perpendicular to both a vector A and B. Okay? So again, ako ang i-emphasize na ang kini siya, unit vector ni siya nga perpendicular both A and vector B. So, kalusam na siya may tabo. So, let's say for example na ako yung vector A. Simple lang, no? 10 meters I hat. And then na ako yung vector B, which is 2 meters J hat. Okay. So now, kung ako nang i-cross, puntalan kag A cross B, sa iyong buhaton, kay imo lang dayong ikopya, no? So you have 10 meters I hat cross with B, sorry. It's not, I have 2 meters J hat. Na yung buhaton kay, okay, you can multiply, you can proceed with the multiplication. So you have 10 meters times 2 meters, that is just equal to 20 meters squared. And then na kay I cross J. So na kay mitabo dari I cross J. Tama? Can you follow?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so now,
sir.
ang button is, what is this? What is I cross J? Okay, so now, knowing the definition here, so we know that for vector product, we have that general definition. So now, let's try to find out what is I cross J. So, we have where nakalasa ko na I cross J. So I cross J, so by definition we have from the top class, we know that ang imuhang first nga buhaton is kuhaon nimo ang magnitude sa first vector, kuhaon nimo magnitude ani. So magnitude of I hat is just equal to 1. Next would be kuhaon nimo ang magnitude sa second vector, that is magnitude of J hat, which is also equal to 1. And then we take the sign of the angle between the two. So imong lang tawon kaganina nakita man nato class na if imo sketch, this is the I hat here, and then ang J hat is actually ano siya. And we've learned that the angle between the two is actually 90 degrees. So that's why we have here 90 degrees. Now, naama kay N hat here. What is N hat? So N hat is actually a vector perpendicular to both I hat and j hat. So unsa may vector class nga perpendicular sa I hat and at the same time perpendicular po siya sa j hat. So that's actually the answer for that is this is actually n hat here. It's just the unit vector k hat. Agree?
Follow, sir, follow.
Ako ikuan ha. Nganong kuan man, nganong k hat man ang kuan, nganong k hat man ang perpendicular vector niya. So remember, ako nang gi-discuss last time, no? So kung mao niya ato ang again, mo na tong gitawag nga itong I hat. Sorry. So itong I hat, di ba? This is the j hat. And this is the k hat. So kabalo ta class na ang kining tulo, this is the I, J, K, perpendicular na silang tulo into each other. So ang tawag na ito na orthonormal. Orthonormal meaning the angle between them, kung i-compare nimo sila is actually 90 degrees. So ang ortho, that means perpendicular to each other. And then normal, that means ang ilahang magnitude is actually equal to 1. So that's why I, J, K are orthonormal vectors. Nakuha? So I
Yes,
hope,
sir.
okay, I hope na nakita na ninyo class. So that here, kung ato na siyang i-simplify further, so that means sine 90 is just equal to 1. And then 1 times 1 here, that means this is just equal to 1. And I have k hat here. So 1 times k hat is nothing but equal to k hat. Nakuha? Klaro ba, class? Or napay libog? Ayaw biya mo ka pa na ayaw biya ka ulaw o sulti kung panangitan ko pa. Hindi pa klaro.
Sir, na po ka na, sir.
Sige, mas lumingkit pangutan na.
What ang sign of 90 degrees kay what, sir?
That's just definition. I mean, naka-calculator na nakaroon, so you can actually perform that. Diba? Naka-calculator na. So, i-try o press.
There's zero from sir.
Well,
Sine 90 degree.
Ha?
Zero, sir.
Unsan sa? Sir Ruel?
Zero ang magawa, sir, sa calculator.
Unsan?
One,
Dapat naka-degrees. Dapat naka-degrees dapat naka-degrees ang imong calculator. Ang unit bitaw sa screen sa calculator na ay degrees na or D. Dapat dili siya naka-set sa other na settings like radians or etc. Ako ha?
okay, sir.
Okay. So, nakakita na nimo nga sine 90 is just equal to 1.
Yes.
Roel. Sa Roel?
Ito na, sir. Ito na, sir.
Okay na. Okay, sige. Hilingi akong kauban dali nga si Roel. Roel. So now, nakita na nimo. So that's going back. So you have actually k hat here. So that would mean ako ni siyang i-substitute dani. Dalo na ko siya dadto. So that would mean I have 20 meters square. That is just substitute na ko ang k hat. So therefore, the answer is you have 20 meters squared k hat. That's the answer. A cross B is just equal to 20 meter squared k hat. So now, wala pa na ako gi-introduce ang uban nga technique no. So akong gi-consider pa lang pud kay ang unit vector. Ang vector nga akong gi-consider kay naglay lang entirely sa isa ka axis. So dili siya two-dimensional, dili pa siya three-dimensional, one-dimensional lang. So one-dimensional, that means isa lang ka direction. So ang A nako kay naalang gid siya sa I hat, ang ako ang B kay naalang gid siya sa J hat. So mao pa ni siya ang simpler nga case. So dapat mag-grasp na nato ni siya para at least later on kung dungagon ako imo na ako siyang two-dimensional o three-dimensional, ma-perform ra nato siya easily. Okay. So notice class kung kwaon. So karon kay nakita na nato ni notice no ang kining I cross J, ang resulta niya kay k hat. Now kung i-perform nato ang kini J cross k hat, notice na ang imuhang so J cross K, so that would mean kini i-cross nimo sa K. So unsa may vector nga perpendicular sa duha? That's actually this. That's that. Nakuha ba ka, class?
Kuha, sir.
Okay. So that would mean ini. So magdali ra nimo makuano? Madali ra nimo matiman-an kay na makay tulo lang ka unit vector I j k. Kung i-cross nimo ang I cross j, so ang resulta na niya kay katong wala niya diri. So that's usually so you have k hat. Abot nimo diri kay j cross k hat. So unsa may wala niya dira nga unit vector, that's I. So that's mean so I hat. Pag na ako'y k cross I, unsay resulta ni?
J hat, sir.
J hat, okay. Very good. So now, nakita ninyo class na gitawag nato nga cyclic nga behavior ang imong pagkuha sa resulta nga unit vector. So I'm talking about this one. So na-discuss man yung sa video ni Sir Roel. So that would mean if in this case kining first nakay I cross J, so nakay I cross J, so imo siyang gi-cross padulong dadto, padulong diri no. So that is actually clockwise. So by clockwise, so that would mean ang imong resulta na is positive A. So the same with this, pag abot na to sa J cross K, so nakay J, i-cross nimo sa K, so ang imong direction gyapon is padulong dadto no, clockwise. So that's still a positive. So you have ang answer is I. Positive I. And the same with the last one. So when you cross K with I here, so ang resulta, so you have clockwise nga direction gyapon, so ang resulta nimo is positive nga j hat. Now, unsay may tabo kung dili day clockwise ang imong pag-cross, so that would mean kung naakay let's say j cross I, so that would mean na kay j here, this one, i-cross nimo siya sa imong I here. So this is now i-counterclockwise. Diba? So by this, ang imong resulta, since it is actually counterclockwise, so ang imong resulta dana is a negative value of k. K hat. Nakuha? So the same with kung naakay for example, naakay k hat cross j hat. So ang answer nimo dana na kay k, here k cross nimo sa j. So this still a counterclockwise. So that would mean ang imong resulta is minus I hat. And the same thing with the last one, is actually nakay I cross k hat. So na imong I here, na imong k here, so i-cross nimo ang I sa k. So you have I cross with k. So this is still counter. So that would mean ang resulta nimo is negative j hat. Nakuha nimo? Nakuha inyo class?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So naay cyclicity sa imong unit vectors. Okay. Notice kay ang isa sa property pud sa imong vector product kay gitawag nato sa class nga naay gitawag natong anti-commutation. So meaning ang imong A cross B is not equal. This is not equal to B cross A. So remember this. So sa ibot pasabot ani class, sa ibot pasabot ani dili sila equal, meaning magmatter ang unsay gisulat nimo una nga vector. Magmatter ang order. Kinsay una nga gisulat nimo kay dili nimo pwede nimo siya isulat nga ikaduha. So dili pwede nga buhaton nimo inani, pwede na ko isulat nga B cross A, dili mo pwede buhaton. That's not the right property niya. But notice nga ang iyang definition would tell us that what is true is ang imong A cross B, you can write this one as pwede nimo siya iuna ang B, but then you take the negative of that. Paano mo negative anak niya and then cross with A. So this is true. Nakuha? That is why kaganina kung mulantaw tada ni class, kung mulantaw tada ni here, kung lantawan ta ni kini siya, di ba anak ka na kay I cross J is equal to A hat. Now kung baliktaron nimo J cross I, so kung baliktaron nimo dapat kay nakay negative. Di ba? what I'm trying to stress out is I cross J is equal to minus J cross I. Tama? But then, we know that I cross J is just K hat. So that would mean kung ako ning i-transfer ang negative to the other side, so okay, negative ram siya na class na pwede na ako na siya isulat as this. Pwede na ako na siya isulat as, mura bitag i-factor out na ako ang negative, so pwede na ako siya isulat dito. Para matanggal ang negative, ako siya i-transfer sa kikas by simply multiplying a negative number, negative 1. So that would mean I have negative K hat here is equal to J cross J hat cross I hat, which is actually this one. Can you follow?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, ang punto lang is kung imo ang i-switch, dapat kay pauli mo negative. Okay? Now, how about class kung naa kay parehas i-cross nimo, bali talking about I hat cross I hat unsay resulta? Now basically ang definition nimo ana siya kuhaon nimo magnitude ang first, magnitude sa second, ang magnitude sa second is also 1, and then sign of the angle between the two. But the angle between the two now is 0. Diba? I hat cross I hat. So the angle between I hat and itself is just 0. So that's why sine 0 is just 0. And 0 multiplied with any number is just equal to 0. So that's why this is 0. So bottom line now is, every time na kay vector, unit vector, I mean, i-cross nimo sa iyahang kaugalingon, that produces zero vector. Okay? And then k hat cross with k hat, that is just equal to 0. So more na additional. So na ay opposite siya sa scalar product. Kaya ang scalar product ang mag-contribute na terms kay katong parehas og unit vector. So I'm talking about I dot I hat, j hat dot j hat, and k hat dot I dot k hat. So katulad sila mag-contribute for scalar product. On the other hand, ang vector product ay dili mag-contribute ang I hat cross I hat. The same thing with j hat cross j hat and k hat cross k hat. Nakuha? So let's have an simple check-up class. Okay? Kindly perform this. So practice lang ha, para at least makuha na ako, makita na ako kung naabay nag-grasp ba ninyo class. So suppose practice daw. Perform this in 5 minutes daw ko na class. So suppose na ko A, which is actually 3 meters j hat, and then plus 1 meter k hat, and then ako B, which is actually ko 6 I hat, and then minus 1 meters, and then I have here j hat. So ako pumunta na karon kay find A cross B. Sige daw. So perform this one in 5 minutes. So I'll call someone nga Muhatag sa answer. Randomly. Okay? Sige daw. So, I'll get back to you around 17. So, i-perform lang sa inyo class if ever, kwan ba,